the culinary director here at Otterbein St. Mary's. Today we are back with a cooking class, minus the cooking again. Today we are going to make ornaments, decorative things out of pâte morte, which all that really means is dead dough. It's a dough that doesn't have any sort of leavening agents or anything like that. It's really just the basic things that make something a dough. So even if you were to bake these things, nothing would happen. They just stay exactly as they are. It's usually used for artistic functions, like in really high level competitions and stuff. They make different types of centerpieces out of this type of dough, and you just let it sit and rest, and then it dries completely, and then it's decorative. So first we're going to start out with making a dough, and then we're going to kind of go through the process of what you can do to change the different types of things to make it something else. The number one thing is that it should be all natural ingredients. Some people will make it with crazy different types of food colorings and stuff like that, but that's not necessarily the heart of why you do these types of things. So I'll show you in a few minutes how you can alter the dough in a natural way without adding artificial colors and different things like that. So what we're going to start with is regular all-purpose flour, and then right here in this mixing bowl I have basically just sugar water. The reason why you add sugar instead of just having water is because it makes the dough a little bit more flexible and easy to work with. So all I'm going to do is add a good portion here, so that way it's good and mixable. Right now I have gloves on just so you can kind of stay away from the dirty hand process of making this. And then you just mix it up until it forms a dough. We have it come together into a ball. So now I'm going to turn it out on my table. This is a clean work surface, and now I'm going to start to knead it. So there's just a little bit too much moisture, and I can tell that right here, so I'm just going to add some flour as I start working it, so that way it becomes really easy to work with. You could make this in like a KitchenAid mixer if you wanted to, like if you're maybe have like some arthritis in your hands or something like that, where you don't like a lot of movement in your fingers anymore. But I like to do it by hand just because it's kind of part of the process. I always think that working dough is really relaxing. Some people it's probably not, but for me it is. So I'm just going to work this dough together. I took a class in college called Artisan Breads, and this was one of the things that we had to do. So we had an entire batch of French bread that the yeast didn't take. So then we ended up turning it all into dead dough, and we had to make sculptures out of it from there. So that's kind of the way this all originated, was taking dough that didn't do what it was supposed to do. So maybe it was supposed to rise, or maybe you had bad yeast or something like that, and then you still use it and get your money out of it by making it into something else. So this is just your absolute most basic type of dough right here. It's just white, there's nothing added to it, there's no coloring, there's nothing in it that makes it something else. So what we're going to do is add something to it to make it a little bit more interesting. So I just have it flattened out right here, and I'm going to take some poppy seeds, just regular poppy seeds that you get in the store. And we're going to put some poppy seeds into this dough just to give it a little something. And you probably can't hear it, but this dough is starting to get sticky again, so we're going to add some more flour, so that way it doesn't stick to anything. And then the poppy seeds are in the middle right now, so they're going to start working themselves to the center here, to the outside. we've worked through it just to give it a different type of look on the outside. And that one's just a little bit sticky still, so just going to put a little bit on the outside for when we start to work with it again. So now you can see that this one has just a little bit of color to it, and as we'll work with it more, then the poppy seeds will come out as well, so you can see it. So two other natural kind of colorings that you can do are this dough right here, which I know you can't smell, but it smells awesome. This dough right here is a, I call it a hot spice dough. So it has all different types of hot spices in it, kind of like a pumpkin pie spice. So this has nutmeg and allspice and cinnamon. And so this is a really fragrant dough. This is probably going to be the one that you think of the most for Christmas ornaments. I know we had these on my tree growing up, and they smell for a really, really long time. And as long as you let them dry completely through, they'll never mold, they'll never anything like that. But they will crack eventually if you don't seal them and different things like that. But if they crack, then you can just make more. So this is the second type of dough, and that's kind of a hot spice dough. That's what I call that one. And then right here, we have another different type of dough. This one is a bright yellow dough that I made with turmeric. This one definitely doesn't smell the same as the other dough. It definitely smells, but maybe not as good as the hot spice one. But these are just three different options that you can have here. And one of the really important things when we're working with this dough, so I made these probably less than, I don't know, 10 minutes ago, and you can tell that the dough is already getting a skin on it because this dries out very quickly. So if you're going to like make these and then work on them for a few days, you want to make sure that you're definitely covering them really tightly so that way air can't get to them, so that way they don't start to dry out. But that's the simplest form of all three of these. So now I'm just going to make a Christmas ornament out of this, or like a Christmas decoration. So I'm going to take a piece of each one, and I'm going to roll this one out into a snake, basically. That one's done. Now we're going to make one out of this one. This is the turmeric dough. It smells like curry if you've ever had curry. Taking the third type of dough here, making a snake out of this one too. This one's the hardest to roll because it's the most elastic. The other two have had a minute to sit for a little bit and kind of relax. But this one we just made it so it hasn't had any time to relax at all. Take all three here into the middle, and I'm going to braid them. So I'm going to start in the middle and braid from there, and on this side. So now you're going to press down to make them into a circle like this. And now this is the part where we connected them, so that part doesn't look very nice. So most times you would take some sort of dough, doesn't matter what it is. We're going to make this one here. And we're going to shape it into a bow. Put that on the top there. We'll make a centerpiece for it. There we go. So in a very, very quick way, that's one way that you can make a wreath. Probably not with these colors, probably with Christmas colors. But you can make a wreath here, and then to let this dry, you would just let it dry, sit unaltered, probably in like a closet or somewhere that you won't look at for a long time, and just let it sit and dry until it's all the way dry through. That's one of the most important things, because if you don't let it dry, then it'll mold. But if you let it dry completely, then there should be no problem. So you wouldn't want to cover it, you wouldn't want to do anything, you would just want to let it sit just like that. One of the other really common things that people make are baskets, believe it or not. So the way that you would start a basket is you would take like the back of a bowl like this. So if this was the type of basket that you wanted, then you would take your dough, and if you want to make a really complicated one, you would roll it out. So we're going to take the top of it, and we're just going to coil it like this. To make the bottom part of it, I'm going to give it a smash to keep it all together. And then you would keep going around and around and around until you got to the bottom of this bowl, which this is a small bowl, but some people do really, really large bowls. So one of the really popular things to do with this type of dough is to make a basket like this. Obviously this isn't a great example because it's very quick. But you would make a basket out of this, and then with each different type of dough, then you would make the type of bread that that dough goes along with. So you would make like dinner rolls, you would make baguettes, you would make cinnamon rolls, you could make all different things like that. And then you would fill the bread basket with those dead dough creations, and then you would have them for display. So especially like in a bake shop or something like that where they do all types of artisan breads, you would find something like this if the person there for some reason really liked to do this type of thing. So definitely a decorative piece, but it's something to kind of keep your hands busy and kind of have you relaxed as well. One other thing that you can do with this, which you probably see a lot of, you can roll out like a disc, if you want to say that, a disc that's a little bit thicker, and obviously I have a large hand so I can't do this, but then like I have nieces and nephews, for example, so I would take a disc of dough like this that's about the size of my nephew's foot, and we would smash his foot into it, and then you can let that dry and then write the name of the kid on it. So for example, I have a cute little one that my sister made with a baby foot, and then she painted it to look like Santa Claus, and then put the name of the child and then the year that it was made out of dough, and then gave it to each of the grandparents too. So it's just kind of something fun that you can do with your nieces, nephews, grandkids, or just to kind of keep your hands busy as well. We'll be back next time. Thank you.